Haji Greavesy. Just a quick audio check before 9 o'clock. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, Ryan, I can. Sorry, if anybody can hear an echo, that's my phone.
Turn your phone off, Macca.
Is that better?
I hope so. Greavesy, can you confirm how I sound and how Macca sounds now? We should still be live, but I can't see any. Echo gone, but Ryan's not very loud. Let's see if I can. Volume to its max. Greavesy, it's Ryan. Is Macca's sound okay? And is mine any better now?
So testing for Macca. Hello, Greavesy. How are you?
Thank you, Haji. Evening, Mr. Rob.
Bereshnaj, Spartak.
We'll give it till 9:01, then we'll crack on, Macca.
Yep.
Macca is 100%. Ryan is a bit better. I've just moved closer to my microphone. I think I need to get a separate microphone. Evening, Mr. Mourinho.
How do you, Tato?
Macca, do you want to start us off by having a chat through last week's or Sunday's action and any surprise results out there?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to get straight to it and say the surprise result for me was Devils winning away to Hools. Fifey's, in my book, got a similar strength squad to that he had last year, but seems to have done something a lot better tactically. I think he's obviously had an upgrade in midfield with the likes of Ferguson and Dyer and Kewell. But he's obviously getting his tactics right. It's not something I think we saw in play last year, the narrow formation, but that on paper, to me, suggests he's probably got all his best players on the pitch though.
Yeah, I guess I know what you mean, but do you agree with Barry Ferguson at DMC? Is that something that you would do?
I probably would on a home save, but you know, within the sort of confines of the Super League, if you look at what Kieran did at Churchtown last year and having him in that pivotal central role, I think that's where you've got to play him really. So he's still done a job, obviously getting a 7 last week for Fifey, but to properly get the best out of him in terms of assists and goals, I think he has got to play in that centre midfield role.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Just a quick evening to all those who's kind of filtering into the chat. Evening, Mr. Campbell. Evening, Scott. Evening, Jens. Ryan and Mac were very quiet. Right, but yeah, we're fine. We're okay. Okay. We're going to start off this evening. I think we'll have a look at the fixtures. It's nerve-wracking. So, fixtures on screen. Got Dragons versus Bostock, Yourselves versus Hools, Gazelles versus Leddersford, Haggis versus Northern Burn, Locomotive versus Churchtown, Sloths versus Astor, and Devils versus Dudley. Any game apart from your own that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, do you know what I was just about to say? If Martin was going to charge me $2.99 to PPV a game, it would definitely be Haggis v Burn, I think. I don't know why, I've just got a feeling that one's going to be an absolute humdinger.
Haggis have kind of been talking themselves up as pre-season favourites. It'll be interesting to see if they can kind of live up to that. They've got some big names in their squad. What I think would favourite you, I did kind of make a promise this evening in regards to how quick we're going to get through this thing. I'm probably going to start and move on. So I've gone to Mr. Hopkins. Let's continue, and it's took me straight to you, but I'm not doing you yet. So I'm going to do Mr. Hopkins again. Continue. Yes, Bostock Stanley. So we've got Dragons versus Bostock, two teams that just missed out on the playoffs last season. So I've got Dragons first. He's made a couple of changes from last time out. If Jamie's, if I can see Wooders in the in the comms, and make sure that formation's right. It looks like Martin set this up, so I'm not absolutely 100% certain, but looks alright.
That's an interesting one. That is a very interesting formation.
Good. What's interesting about it? What do you like? What don't you like?
I think if I've got my understanding of the game right here, when Dragons are with ball, effectively, or attacking, they'll effectively be one at the back, Western Babel in centre midfield, in defensive midfield, 3 centre mids, two attacking mids, and then 2 forwards, and it's all very, very narrow and compact. So without obviously going into the tactics, I would be interested to see what Jamie's doing in terms of passing preferences, what he's got per player, anything like that. But the guys obviously know what they're doing.
West and Babel making diamonds, all about the diamond passes. I'm going to say that generally means it looks good. Right. Then we'll have a quick look over at Bostock. He's put Titov in midfield. Made a couple of slight changes of it being wholesale. What do you make of that?
It's a variation on the beloved 271. Big fan of that, actually. I think he's got a lot of solidarity there, and again, he's getting his attacking players on the pitch. I think we need to dispel this myth that Riquelme doesn't do it in Super League. He did it for me last year, and I think he's going to do it for Scott this year. Looks kind of... I mean, the wing-backs are an interesting choice, but we all know Cole and Castroman on this game can be absolutely deadly. I think that team's got a nice balance to it. And I do fancy Scott to do well this year, actually.
So let's have a few...
Now he's got his own team and done his own deals, I do think he'll do quite well.
Yeah, what do you make of Andre in that? Would you be going with Andre, or would you be going with Eleftheropoulos?
Do you know what? If you'd have asked me, having never participated in Super League, I'd have said Eleftheropoulos. Forgive the pronunciation. Just because that's somebody I'm familiar with and have signed him, I think, as like a backup keeper and stuff. Andre I'd never heard of until Scott brought him in last year, and he did put in a string of very good performances. So, all in all, despite the waffle, I'd probably be inclined to go for Andre.
Right, fair enough. Any predictions for this in the chat? Any predictions from you, Mako?
I can't see... well, Joe Palmer reckons it'll be a humdinger 5-7. I think it'll be... I mean, given the quality of squads is much more spread out, I don't think we'll see any crazy runaway games this year. But I fancy an entertaining 2-2 draw. 2-2
draw. Let's kick it off. There's quite a variation there. A couple of draws. Alf's going for a 1-1. Tester's going 2-1 home win. Dimble going 3-1 away win. Let's see what happens. It's an electric start.
I think Bostock's width here should play a part, and they have still packed that midfield. So I'm not sure how much of an advantage Dragons' narrow formation is, aside from maybe playing 2 AMs against just Igor Tudor.
Yeah.
Or whoever Bostock's got in DMC.
I've seen a lot of Zidane, a few chances either side, but no goals as yet. Fury had a chance there for Bostock. Looks like anything before half time. Zidane denied a great goal. Almost a full capacity crowd, and it's been all Bostock so far. All Bostock, but no goals as yet. What's going on with Dragons, Maka?
Well, it looks like they just can't get on the ball at all. I mean, I do think the Bostock width is probably hampering Dragons a little bit. They're probably man for man up top and and against the defence. And then, like I said, in that midfield, I wonder if Scott's just got it right with simplistic instructions for his midfield players.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, Dragons formation was a bit unusual, but it's still one of those where you've seen narrow formations work in Super League, so it's not beyond the realms of fantasy. I think just basically Dragons have got to get on the ball more, look to attack more, and just try and do something. It seems that everything's running through Titov and Zidane. Riquelme is not doing too badly either, but it looks like Joe Pinto's a bit of a weak link between midfield and attack.
Yeah, just looking at that, it doesn't look like Bostock are pulling up any trees, really. It just looks more like Dragons aren't getting on the ball. I mean, best player in the game so far, Oliver Kahn, he's the only one who has a shot to save. Looking at those stats there, the Dragons haven't done anything. I'm going to ask now if anyone from either club is in the chat whether they want to make any half-time subs. Obviously, you can't change any positions. I know we forgot to do this on Sunday, but we'll see if that's there. So if either Jamie or I'll allow Wooder want to make any changes, give it a shout. Now let's go balls deep from Wooder, and I've not seen Jamie's name mentioned, and Scott is alright, and Duggan's
Scott
there
says, yeah, not for me. Just realised then, apologies to everybody watching, that I was commentating on Bostock's team as if it was Dragons.
Yeah. Right, let's just crack on anyway, second half, and see if we get some goals. Again, it's an exciting start for Bostock. Titov there, and Titov actually found the net on his debut. First time in the Super League. Looks like, see if we can get a bit more from Dragons now. We've seen
commentator's curse there for Titov.
It does look like Dragons are coming into it a little bit. Not
Is it too late though? I think it might be too late. Bostock have looked really comfortable throughout.
And that's the final whistle, and that's two very tight 1-0 wins for Scott and Bostock. I think he'll be, without pulling up any trees, he'll be delighted with that. It's been more. Without pulling up any trees, he'd be relatively happy with his start. The second half very similar to the first, in the idea that Bostock the better team, maybe not to the extent they were in the first. Let's have a quick look at Dragon's squad. And it doesn't look like they've done too bad,
getting my analysis right here. They've had plenty of the ball. Zay Elias has been busy tackling all over the park. Konstantinu's not really done much, it seems. Nedved, Seedorf done very little as well. Maybe just fannied about with the ball. I don't know. I don't want to criticise or say too much. I don't know. Maybe Jamie might have to try something else though, because that just seemed a bit lifeless. That upon action.
And like I say, the kind of the eights are coming further down the pitch. I look at it for Bostock. You've got Maldini meeting man of the match. Lasisi getting an 8. Andre's had a good game, even though he's not had too much to do. You look up the pitch, and Pinto and Vieri not really doing too much really. Vieri's tackling more than he's doing anything else, but he's got the goal just after half time. Maybe not as many as he would have expected, given him that kind of level of dominance overall, but he'll take the result and run. And Jamie now 1 point after 2 games, he's going to have to think about what to do next.
Yeah, right. Definitely. I mean, although saying that, as Jens alluded to in some of his press conferences, like, there is no need for any manager to hit the panic button just yet, really. It's a game in, the squads are a lot tighter, we haven't got that sort of second and third season transfer merry-go-round where some squads are really unbalanced. So I think, once you get to about 9 or 10 games, if something's not working then yeah, maybe change it.
Yeah, and just so those on screen can see, Craig messaged me saying he messed up putting a Bramble in rather than Lucio, so I've just switched that back. So this is Gazelles versus Leddersford. Craig versus Hodgie. Look, both teams, I think they got a point first time out, Leddersford and Gazelles, yeah. So they both go into this level. Do you want a quick look and talk us through the Gazelles squad?
Dede and Cafu are higher up the pitch than I would have thought, but I guess that makes sense with him playing 3 defensive midfielders. Ferdinand and Lucio is pretty rock solid at the back. Rob Douglas obviously did a job for you last season. Laundreau can be a bit flappy, so I see why he's gone with Douglas as well. Deco, I don't think he's anything special on champ really. But then looking at his bench, what were his other options? Figo, Raul, obviously you know those players well. This squad looks like it's got a nice bit of balance to it, despite the sort of defensive guys being a bit higher up the field. I think this formation has been widely used by a lot of players as well. Looks pretty good, looks pretty balanced. Looks like there should be goals in it if they can get the ball through to Raul, see what happens. But that central axis of sort of Ferdinand, Keane, Lucio, that'll take some breaking down.
Yeah. Just looking at Fifey's comment in the chat, my sound ran loud and clear according to Palmer there. I think it's just Fifey. I'm happy that's going good because it was a bit of a panic beforehand because I couldn't get Macca on, this sound on, but it looks like it's working. So if I need to speak up or shut up, then let me know. Yeah, good analysis there, Macca. Leathersford have gone with one up front, very similar formation, or almost exactly the same formation.
Yeah, fighting fire.
Yeah, I really love that defensive midfield there. Vogel, Decor, Soroczynski look absolutely solid. Similar to Craig, I'm not too sure if his wide players are the best players in his team. I'm delighted to see Luis Enrique getting a game, debut in the Super League for him. Again, similar to what you call it to Gazelles, the really solid back line with Nestor and Juliano, and he's got Inzaghi to put the goals in. So I think it should be a good even matchup. Hopefully those similar formations don't cancel each other out.
This is where it'll all come down to the tactics of each team and the individual player instructions.
Yeah. Right. I believe that on my phone, Kieran, I can see it the stream on my phone and on my YouTube studio, and it's really clear on there. So I'm not too sure why it's not transferring that way. In regards to what you can see on your screen, I'll try and speak up, but yeah, and I can try and turn Macca down as well. That might help if you can hear, then you'll be able to turn your volume up. Right, any predictions, Macca?
Well, I was spectacularly wrong with the last one, so I think I will go 1-0 Gazelles on this one.
1-0 Gazelles. Alf's going 2-1. Lee Dimble 2-1. Leathersford again. It's so early in the what do you call it, the season that no one really knows where people stand. So let's see what happens here. Going to say a good start for Leathersford, but it's like Gazelles have come right back into it. Roy Keane doing well. Saw Soroczynski's name a couple of times. Oh God, that just flew by then.
Yeah, massive.
Oh my God. So Gazelle have Medina against
Medina.
Yeah. Oh, and another.
Another.
Wow. If there was one player,
you're not betting on him at being first goal scorer, are you? Or even second goal scorer?
Yeah. Not at all. I'm just gonna kind of take my eye off the game for a second. Mourinho said change it on YouTube settings to 480p in the viewers. So let's try and do that. Video resolution. And then I promise you, gents, I'll get straight back to the thingy. Open widget stream now. Or is he talking to someone in the chat? I don't know. But
I think he's asking the viewers to change it. To be fair, yeah, he's just said you guys. Greavesy loves a bit of Medina. He's a player I've never signed ever. Do you think you've got a few seconds to have a look at how he scored the goals, Ryan?
Yeah, we'll do. Yes, been a quite tight game. Gazelle just having the edge of it. Let's have a quick look. And I think I saw before, and Medina looked odds on to score, and Taibbi saved one, and then he's hit a hopeful one. So he's had a few chances, Medina, which might be a little bit surprising from where he's playing. So the first one, as I alluded to, is a hopeful looking shot. The next one looks like Dede scored it from the left. Absolutely love Dede, and it's another hopeful looking shot. So it might have been the long shots there of Medina, which are only 11, but they're doing the damage tonight. And he's obviously so far been the main man for Gazelles, who don't really look too troubled. You might be surprised to see that Cafu, although slightly out of position, is getting a 6.
They've barely had the ball. I mean, everything's
Yeah,
going through Ferdinand and Dede pretty much.
it is indeed. Let's see what it's been like for Laddersford on the other end, and they've had the ball
Oh, of
even
course.
less. Wow, that might be the smallest passing numbers I've seen in a long time. Definitely something needs to change there. I'm just going to ask the question early. Does any substitutions wanted from Hodgie or Craig? Can you let us know soon as, and I'll try and implement them ahead of the second half. Yeah, but yeah, I'm interested. Well, I'm interested as well, Tess. Where has the ball been? Luckily for Craig, the ball's been in the back of the net a couple of times. Apparently, Mr. Campbell said Medina to Green at the start of the game for SL, but evidently not too much. Hodgie's leaving it, and I'll just give Craig 5 or 6 seconds, but I can't imagine him wanting to change anything too much. Conditions look strong as well.
I think the only thing I'd maybe do, if I was playing the game, say I'd perhaps bring Ballack on for Deco.
Ballack, I think you're going down the Rob route if you start bringing Ballack on. So, but I'll give Craig a few seconds there. I've not seen anything, so I'm just going to crack on second half and see how we get on. Looks like Laddersford have had a good start there. Sarachinsky and Gazelle and Inzaghi.
Time's whizzed by again though. Look at it, 75th minute.
I think definitely alludes to teams kind of cancelling each other out. And
Oh,
there's Raul, Super League winner, doing it from up front. And yeah, another quick half.
fantastic result.
But yeah, it looks like Gazelles have definitely had the shooting boots on, whereas Laddersford haven't. Only one shot on target from 5, and not a great performance overall. Johan Vogel being the only standout performer. They have touched the ball a bit more in the second half, though. They'll be delighted to see. Not the best performance overall for Laddersford. Maka, Nicholas Medina man of the match. Raul getting a 9. And do you want to talk us through how they've got on?
Look at Dede, 2 assists, absolutely key man, like he was for you last season. I mean, we said Roy Keane had take some beating. Look at that 9, absolute tremendous deal getting Roy Keane. Raul playing well as well. Jeremy's, and then who's the other lad in? Yeah, I mean, you look at every single midfielder's played really, really well, or at least Bar Cafu, really, really solid. Obviously got some fantastic player instructions on there and various team instructions. I did tip Gazelle. I think in the media to Fifey, I did tip Gazelles to win the entire thing at the start of the season. So looking good so far.
Well, that is some praise and some kind of some prediction. So it's not a bad start though. A away draw and a home win. Let's move on. And I think I'm just going to go with this one on screen, which is Spartak Slofs versus Asta. I've noticed that Rob's in the chat. I haven't seen Alf in the chat. So let's crack straight into it.
Do we not have to take 3 minutes to play the Kurdistani national anthem first? I think
No, we
that's
don't.
Rob's request. Okay.
Right, let's have a look at Slofs. How are we getting on?
Neil Scally. Oh, just what a myth.
Not a fan then, I take it.
I don't know. Maybe I need more convincing of him doing it at a top level. But do you mean if you give me Roy Keane or Neil Scally, I'm taking Roy Keane. If you give me Vogel or Scally, I'm taking Vogel. If you give me Nicky Butt or Scally, I'm taking Nicky Butt. I don't know what I think Neil Scally's just a bit of a occasional assist merchant that makes it look like he has a massive contribution. I mean, sometimes he does put a good few tackles in, but I don't know. I've never got consistency out of him. Like I must say to everybody watching, like a lot of my viewpoints here are based off kind of personal experience with them. Obviously, what you guys do managing Scally and a few of the other guys in the Super League and what instructions put on them are obviously better than what I do. I just don't feel like he's anything special. He's more of a cult hero.
What do you make of Desai at defensive midfield, and he's gone with Gallas and Hornshaw centre back? Is that good enough for you?
Nope. I'd have played Desai at centre half, probably over Gallas. I don't think Gallas is good enough for season. I mean, look at that pace 10, marking 14, passing 10. I mean, what is he? Division 1?
Well, if he's Division 1, what's David Collins? What is David Collins? Obviously, goal machine in the conference and Division 3, but let's see if we can do it in the Super League. Got a 7 last week. Could have been worse.
Yeah, I was going to say, looking at a lot of the comments. Sorry, I have had Neil Scally on various like saves and stuff like that, and he's always been okay. He's just never been the elite player you guys have managed to get him to be.
Looking at Astor, he's unchanged from last week after a solid performance. Is that the best 11 he can put out, would you reckon? Or if you think he's missing a trick with some players, are you happy? Would you be happy with Neil Lennon in there?
Well, there's definitely a drawbridge been pulled up there. It seems. I know Al's got a few bits out of Liverani on some home saves, and Rui Costa he's always been a big fan of. Mehmet Scholl, I mean, I don't know the strength of Al's squad to be fair, so I shouldn't really make any comments. But if you look at that forward line of Shevchenko and Henry, if he can get the ball to those two, like they will score goals galore. So he looks, I can see I can see what Al's trying to do here. He's got a very, very solid defence and defensive midfield. They'll be very tough to break down. Peruzzi's no slouch. Southgate and Hippier are pretty good on the game. His 3DMs are class. I do worry about the lack of width. We saw it not really work out for, what's called in the first game. Didn't really work out. Yeah.
One of those teams in the first game.
Yeah, the one who lost. Sorry. I've barely slept, lads. This kid won't fucking sleep, and it's doing my head in. Al's looks like he's going to be very, very tough to break down. My only concern, perhaps, would be how he gets the ball to those front two.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm going to start the game, but I can see Scott's mentioned that Collins generally works behind two up front. It'd be interesting to see if he could do it in this formation. Noticed his name there, though. I've got a penalty. No penalty. Not given.
Why is the referee got one name? He's called Minute.
And the minutes do fly by. I've seen a lot of red here. Looks like Sloth's edging it. And answered the question. David Collins has. He's answered the question. 29 minutes in, and he's got
hero steps up. Honestly, I've never signed Collins. I didn't know he existed until I kind of got involved with the community, and he's just. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I think you called it right the other night, Ryan, when some of these like superstar players that you just unearth from the middle of nowhere, because I've probably not known about them for years, I tend not to buy them ever, even now that I do know about them.
Yes. Looking at that half time, anyway. It's been what do you call it? It's been a really, really tight game. I'll be honest, watching the comms first half, I thought Sloths had the better of it. Obviously, they've got the better of it on the scoreline, more shots on target, but Alf's had a few shots on goal. Let's have a quick look how David Collins got his goal. It looks like Zé Roberto's done all the damage and put a cross in, and Collins has put a simple finish. Collins, one who does like to score a goal, but does definitely never seems to assist one. Quick look at the first half from Sloths. What do you think of them, Mac? What do you think there?
Solid. I'm zooming in straight in on Neil Skelly's stats, obviously, before I get absolute pelters in the chat. 5 out of 9 tackles won. That's not bad. Passing completion's not bad either. He's won his header. Get me another portion of humble pie, it seems. Zé Roberto's key boy there, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done the damage, hasn't he? He's been at the most of the ball. He's got the assist for the goal. He's done it numerous times in the Super League. Absolutely great player, in my opinion.
And yes, so far, Honshaw and Gallas hold firm.
Yes, without pulling up any trees, they have done all right. A quick look over at Astor. Obviously, he's playing the narrow formation, and he's been done down one of the wings, which will frustrate him. Looking across that, 6s and 7s, really nothing too outstanding. Not too much of the ball either, which, considering the amount of players they've got in midfield, might concern him. Let's have a quick look here. Can you look at how many passes completed and attempted from Sloths versus Astor? Looks like all the possession has been for Spartak. Anything to call out there, mate?
No, I think just what I said earlier. I did worry about the lack of width and the ability to get the ball forward. I mean, he's got like 3 human shields in defensive midfield. Maybe not like a deep line playmaker potentially. But I mean, Alf knows this game arguably better than anybody, so I'm sure he'll have a trick up his sleeve.
Any substitutions at half time? Alf or Mr. Robert, if you want to call any substitutions?
I think he prefers our glorious leader.
May do. Just listening to a little bit. Nothing from Alf. I've seen Alfonso Albero. Nice to speak to you, mate. He's mentioned Skalidis and Caligaris, two great players, but they're on the .68 update rather than this is the original game, the .60, where they don't exist, in my opinion. Or if they do exist, they're definitely not as good as they are. No changes from either side, which everyone's been quite diplomatic so far. I don't know how long that will last.
I think it's because people like to make the sort of 60th, 70th minute change, really, but that'll get a bit messy, I think. Anyway, off we go.
Here we go. Wow, it is moving. This text is moving very quick. There's not too much happening there.
Yeah, there's a lot of action, and it seems still more in Spartak's favour. There we go.
There he is again.
Collins again.
Oh, we worried whether he was good enough. Are the rest of the players good enough for Collins?
Honestly, I've been playing this game nearly 20 years, and I still don't bloody understand it.
It is a long
David
way
Collins
to
should be nowhere near the Super League, but there you go. He's done the damage tonight. Bottle of champagne for that man.
David Collins, absolutely. I mean, it's been a relatively even on the ground game, a little bit more possession for the Sloths at the Lubbock Arena. 9 out of the 13 shots on target. Roberto getting the 10 and 2 assists, but the 2 goals, and in my opinion, my man of the match, if not the game's man of the match, is that man, DC, David Collins, answering all the questions there. That is absolutely fantastic. Anything you want to mention on that, apart from the 2 that I mentioned there? I'd like to highlight Neil Scally getting a 9, Tomasi getting a 9, Desse getting an 8, so that defensive midfield trio doing its job.
I am lost for words, Ryan. I thought Collins might not cut it, but they've obviously been set up absolutely spot on. I think between Rob and Joe, they could do some damage this year. I mean, that's a really comprehensive performance against Alf, despite Alf's partial wibwob.
And again, similar to the first half, just quickly looking at that, it looks like Roberto gets past Neil Lennon, puts the cross in, and it's a low drive into the net. So it's the same thing again. Lennon beaten by Roberto, puts it into Collins, who's in space. Quick look at Astor, and it's all 6s and 7s, apart from Kalojny, who Alf got on the last day of the draft, who's generally had the most of the ball. I think he's playing in that central position, is he? Yes, he is, Kalojny, so you'd expect that. It just seems like there's a lot going on in this area, and it's not really developing too much down the pitch. There's a lot of touches up the pitch for Henry and Shevchenko, but not really into too many shots. You can see that Henry's touched the ball 24 times and not a shot on target or a shot off target. So yeah, it's something for Alf to think about. Shevchenko, a couple of key passes, but I don't think that, in my opinion, I didn't get really the impression that Van der Sar was troubled too much.
That game kind of smacked full of late 90s English teams going away to Russia or Eastern Europe and getting beat.
Yeah, it's a tough place to go, Kurdistan. I think we're just going to crack on straight away there with Lokomotiv Boston versus Churchtown Massive. We're going to proceed with that. Lokomotiv Boston, we've got referee Ben Williams, and we've got Forza Lokomotiv, who've switched things around a little bit. I think they've got the same strike force, but they've moved Gustavo Lopez out onto the left. Greaves is in the chat, so he can just quickly tell me that that's right. You want to talk us through that, Macca?
Again, well, I think everybody knows I'm a fan of the kind of 2 CBs, 2 DMCs and whatnot. Effenberg centre mid, not too sure about, but that front 3 of Kutuzov, Amoroso and Elber has got that sort of home save Champions League, always scoring a bloody goal against you sort of magic about it, hasn't it? So Contra and Lopez on the wings, maybe. I'm not too sure about. I'd have played Kaladze. I'd have probably played Kaladze actually, ahead of Manu Petit, or maybe even as a left wing back.
Yeah, you sold got Lopez to Boston, didn't you?
I did, yes. To be honest, that's because I was going to use him as a forward, and obviously, despite having 2 kids up top and 2 Italians in reserve, Gustavo Lopez was not better than any of those four, so there was no point keeping him.
Understand that. I say this team, I think it's got a lot of potential. I really love that defensive midfield partnership between
He's
Simeone.
very workmanlike, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it's, I'd say, cultured as well. I mean, they're not young lads, 31, and I think it's 31 again, yeah. And then they've got a 33-year-old Effenberg who looks quality at the moment, kind of thing. So I think they're going to pull up a few trees start of this season. They were unlucky last week, in my opinion. A quick look at Churchtown, and I'd be glad to see that Pablo Aimar has enjoyed his bottle of wine and has made it back to the starting lineup. What do you think of this lineup? It's something we've not seen too much before.
Aside from Henning Berg at centre half,
On his own.
On his own, yeah. But I mean, in a way, I can see why Kieran's done that, because you look at what's in front of him and then you just think, fuck me. Like, Donati is an absolute machine. Aymar's unbelievable. Cole and Zanetti on the wings, arguably two of the best fullbacks in the game. Zanetti and Emerson holding are absolutely incredible as well. So I mean, they look like they're going to be like Henning Berg might as well get his pipe and slippers on. I don't think he might have to do anything given that the four in front of him. The only call-outs I'd maybe have, and obviously again Kieran knows his team better than he knows than I do, is what Pires and Adilson might do. I'm not too familiar with Adilson, to be honest, and Pires I've used as a winger previously, so it'd be interesting to see what those two guys do in the AM roles.
Interesting indeed. What do you think of Antonio Lopez up top? Do you know this guy?
No, click on. Is that Tom Madeira's proper name?
It is Tom Madeira's proper name. I think Kieran was hoping to throw a few people off by removing the nickname. But he's before tonight he was the top goal scorer in the Super League. He was 2 last week. Obviously,
always better on his own up top, Tom adds. Always better on his own.
Right, let's crack on. Conscious of time and deadlines, so here we go. Locomotive versus Churchtown. And it seems 1 minute in, so I don't want to count too much, but it looks like Locomotive. Oh, a goal disallowed there for Amoruso. Locomotive still getting a few chances in. Churchtown coming into it a little bit now and getting the goal.
Dilson. I wondered what he might do.
He's another one of these wily old Brazilians who sometimes get the kill. I don't know. I'm not convinced that they're the worst team though. And Effenberg there,
Big Steph,
equaliser, Big Stefan. Well, what do you think? Relatively even. Do you mean, I don't know if it was me watching the text go by, but I thought Locomotive Boston had it a lot more than that. But relatively solid first half. A lot of time in Churchtown's area. Slightly better possession. Kieran and his lads getting 3 out of his 3 shots on target. What do you make of the first half there?
Yeah, pretty entertaining. I thought the text was suggesting it was quite an even game actually. I do still fancy Churchtown to go on and nick it, but I think Locomotive Boston will surprise people this year, myself included. I think I'd tip them to perhaps finish bottom, looking at that starting lineup. But again, first shout to Greaves. He's obviously got them tactically well drilled, and you can see Petit, Simeone are doing all right. Effenberg, bit of a fulcrum. I just think there's not much getting to Elber and perhaps not the desired width being used. Although saying that, Lopez has got a 9. I'm sorry, I've only just noticed that, despite not really doing much. I think it's the 3 key passes that have done that for him and the assist. That's surprising me, that actually. I wouldn't have thought he would have got a 9 for that, but obviously so.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look at the goals before we move over to Churchtown. I'm recalled after he's pissed the manager off last week, and he's put it into Adilson, who's put it away. I quite like Adilson. He's a good player. I'll click on him in a second, and this one is Gustavo Lopez there getting the assist, which is probably why he's got the 9. Effenberg blasting it towards the top corner, so that's some finish by the sounds of it. Jens Lehmann getting a 9 for Churchtown. Then apart from that, it's 6s and 7s.
Look at those passes, mate. Look at those passes. Kieran, that's scandalous, mate. You're better than that.
Yes, again, it looks like the away team aren't getting much of the ball. They need to kind of turn it on in the second half, or they might try and see this out after the win last week. I've not seen much at all from Alfonso Lopez. Yeah, there's 5 touches of the ball. Lost both his headers. Not had any shots of yet. You'll definitely be hoping for a lot more from him. Clueless Kieran is the quote from Mr. Campbell.
Oh wow, that's a big statement. Do you know what, I still fancy Church trying to nick it.
Do you? I can only see
Yeah, there's just something about it. I can't quite put my finger on it.
I mean, Kieran is a wily manager, lots of experience, always seems to do well, but I just looked at both of these teams and I think that Greaves has got it. And just as I say that, commentator's curse, Antonio Lopez, Mr. Madeira, has backed it.
Madeira loves it. They'll be dancing on the streets of Massive tonight.
They'll be dancing outside. I think this is on at the Dropping Well on a big screen. This is crazy. Oh, they've equalised.
Could we yet see a winner? Could we yet see a winner?
Could they? If they can! Vitaly Kuchikov turns it round. Oh. There'll be tears in Temple Bar as Churchtown have chucked away a lead and a huge victory after a lot of questions were asked of Lokomotiv Boston. That is a huge victory. Well done to Mr. Greavesy, unlucky there, Mr. Collins. Glad to see you both in the chat. Looking at that though, Macca, who do you think deserved it?
Well, if you go off the stats, it's Loco all day long, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like
it. Passes completed, tackles won, headers won, more free kick. Oh, just everything. The stats scream Lokomotiv deserve to win that. Yeah.
They've been great across the park, really. A 10 from Amoroso up top with an assist, and then the 3 lads to score: Effenberg, Kutzkov and Elba. I think they've just put the pressure on across the pitch. They've got your man from last year, Fabio Cannavaro, at the back.
What a hero!
Solid. I think this team is slowly but surely on the radar. It might just be me. And yes, the chip shot car park is bouncing tonight.
I did say that front 3 of Kutuzov, Elba, and Amoroso was a bit naughty.
Yeah, there's going to be mushy peas, gravy all over the place. Quick look at Churchtown before we move on.
Imar's done nothing. Zanetti's done nothing. Kenny Berg's been busier than he should be.
Yeah, is one at the back away from home? Is that a little bit naive, as Kieran called it? I know he's saying he's unlucky.
I don't know. It depends. If you second guess what the opposition are going to do, if they're playing one up top, then one at the back is absolutely fine. But I think it was more that Loco are playing 1 in the hole and 2 up top where they've possibly exploited that space, and then they've got Kutuzov running on. So effectively, it's 3 against 1 if there's no man marking.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. They look like they've done by numbers there, but I think they've just dominated the midfield as well by look at the action zones and the possession, which I think is basically that's where they've got the chances from. Right, Who we got up next? We've got the Devils versus Dudley Hill. I've seen both Mr. Fife and Mr. Steve Wright in the comments, so glad to see you both here. Let's have a quick look at Dudley Hill.
Sorry, Ryan, I'll let you run solo for 30 seconds here, mate. Sorry, I've just got to sort something out.
No worries at all. Right, we've got the Devils, who might have been teasing us a little bit with a formation on Twitter during the week. Van Bronckhorst does come in, and Ferguson does move to centre midfield, but it's not at 1 at the back. It is with Paolo Montero alongside Jons Novotny. Interesting to see Harry Kuehl playing a left wing back and Kieran Dyer playing the right wing back. I quite like this, I must admit. I think it's getting a bit of love in the chat. I would start. Do you mean you can always question something about what Fife is doing? Dwight York and Elisa Davies starting up top. Emil Penza on the bench. Is that something which I do? Maybe not. He's also got Brugging, Mackay, Solskjaer. He's got a lot of options. I think he's got a really good squad this year, Fifey. But yeah, I think he's got Ferguson in his best position, and Emerson, although he's an MC playing in DMC, he's one of the best players on the game. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does. Quick look over the road at Dudley Hill, and we've got an interesting one here. Ayala and Adams. absolutely solid in my opinion. Adams, obviously, first half, maybe the first season. He's dumped out Matt Viduka after his performance last time, and he's gone with Anelka and Ronaldo. He'll be happy to see that Anelka now happy to stay at the club. Now he's got a new contract. What's the interesting one here, I think, is this Totti in this centre midfield with the arrow going up to the left. What do you think, Macca?
Do you know what? I think on paper that's probably bar the keeper perhaps. That's the best team we've seen all night, I think, in terms of balance, personnel and potential going forward. I do get the Runji in net rather than Kiotis because I think Thiago last season played Kiotis and he kept cropping up with threes and fours because he just wasn't ready for it. Kufre is a solid defender. Ljungberg's versatile. Viduka's a threat. Yeah, I really like the formation and selection here.
Yeah, there's a lot of high-scoring games. I think Hull's going 12-35. Alfonso, who's going 11-34. Steve Wright going 9-0. I'm not too sure any of those. But Fifey's not even backing himself. He's going 2-2. Dimble's going for an away win. Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Mac. He's dropped Kiotis after last week, after he got the 6 last week and conceded that goal. He's gone with veteran Runje. I think he's pretty solid from Stade Liège. He's not old either. I think he should be a formidable keeper. I really like this midfield. Van der Vaart maybe a little bit young, but Totti and Davies, Totti's young as well, but youngish. And Davies, that's a solid lineup. I don't think there's any really weak points there. Anyway, let's crack on and see how the Devils and Dudley get on.
I fancy Dudley 3-1.
Dudley 3-1. Dwight York getting involved there, and there's Ronaldo. Oh, and Anelka offside, stopping the Ronaldo goal. It's been back and forward so far. 20 minutes in, Harry Kewell now coming forward. I'm seeing Kewell again. It's a penalty, and it's a red card for veteran Runge. Absolute nightmare for Mr. Wright. I'm just going to wait for Mr. Wright to tell me what he wants to do, who he wants to put in net, kind of thing. Obviously, he wants Kiotis in net, but for who? That's a real pain for Mr. Wright. Not what he wanted at all. Yeah, 23 minutes in, there's a long way to go. I tend to agree with Dimble there. That is a game changer. Kiotis on for Van der Vaart. What do you want to do with Totti there? I'll allow you to kind of move him around if you wanted. Nick Sulkoff. Can Totti move to CM? Do you want the arrow still on? I'll just like that. That's just, you can do what they want with the arrow on Totti, but apart from that, I think that's as much as I can allow you to do. Kiotis could still get a 3-8. Not as it is, mate. Right, it's a bit of a sickener that after a relatively even start. Let's continue. And Dwight York. Oh! At the second attempt, after a retake, has put the ball in the back of the net. Interesting to see how this one
2001. 2001's Katie Price era, isn't it, for Dwight York?
It might be, yeah.
Oh, good lord, she's in for a battering tonight.
She might have... but maybe slightly unexpected. Ronaldo has got his goal after the earlier one being ruled out. It looks like it's still been pretty level. High perform... big credit at the Stadio El Diablo El Fuego at Yamete. Maybe not as dominant as Fifey would have expected. 6 shots on target, 6 shots on, 3 on target. There's 4 and 2 for Dudley. Pretty even in the action zones. Fifey, as you'd expect with the extra man, getting slightly more possession. What do you make of Devils' first half, Macca?
Do you know what? Considering the formation, which I thought was a bit batshit, it's working, isn't it? Like they kind of kept Dudley at bay and obviously got enough pressure to get a penalty. So hats off to Fifey. He's got something that's working. One thing I do want to call out actually is the name of the referee is David Dwight. And if ever there was a more referee name that I've seen, it's probably that. And I will be asking for that man's hard drive to be checked as well.
You are going to be doing a lot of hard drive checking. Quickly, just on comms. Any subs at all for Steve Wright, I can see that Fifey's happy, doesn't want to upset the apple cart, even though he's got players like Ronaldinho, and Van Bronckhorst only getting 6s. I'll have a quick look through Dudley Hill. Obviously, Runge still getting a 6, even though he was off after 23 minutes and conceded the penalty. Totti's having a good game. He's got the assist for Ronaldo. And Elka's not having too bad so far. Actually, he's only getting a 6, so maybe not pulling up any trees. Yeah, Totti with the 2 key passes, been the main man. Again, as you'd expect, with not too much on. And yes, the bravest man in the room right now is the Dudley Hill boss, who wants to take off Nicholas Anelka.
Oh,
the
good.
last time Nicholas Anelka ever plays. So Mark Viduka comes on at half time for Nicholas Anelka. Let's see what happens here. I don't think he played too bad, but anyway, this is going to be absolute chaos for the next few weeks. Right, second half incoming. I've seen Viduka's name a couple of times. It seems to be both teams getting involved. Ronaldinho to York.
They're still holding out despite the 10 men.
Yeah. Does look like the Devils are coming into it a bit more now.
20 minutes left for Dudley. 25 rather.
Yeah. And there's Javier Francisco Arca.
Oh, there it is!
And that substitution might have been right. And Mark Viduka comes off the bench. Oh, it's 3!
Mate, I called 3-1.
So, yes, Mr. Wright, after going 1-0 down and losing a man, is now 3-1 up. And I don't know what has happened with the Devils. They're absolutely capitulated. I mean, they've had the extra man and they've been outplayed there. More shots on target, more shots on goal for Dudley Hill. Look at the action zone, still pretty level, even though, you can't really expect Dudley to go out and have the possession there. I'll quickly talk through the Devils, who look like the wingers have had a bit of fun, but they haven't done too much in the centre of the park. Barry Ferguson getting a 6. Maybe Fifey pissed him off a bit too much last week playing at DMC, and Barry's not forgiven him and put a performance like that in. Emerson only winning 2 of his 5 headers. A lack of key passes really, a couple from Emerson, but a really lack of anything that's created too much. Ronaldinho not really ripping up any trees as you'd expect from him. Maka, let's have a quick look at the goals. Obviously we had the penalty for Dwight York after Runge was sent off for a cynical foul on Elisa Derby. We'll have a quick look down through. Totti controlled on his vest, on his chest even. Might be wearing a vest, I'm not too sure. And Ronaldo with a lovely strike after that. We had the other one there, and as we got then into 74 minutes, it looks like it's Ronaldo's shot pushed away by Sebastian Frey, and Viduka puts it in, and then this looks like a solo effort. Oh, Carlos drops the ball, and it doesn't look like a solo effort, so it's a Carlos chips the ball in, and Ronaldo knocks it past the keeper. So yeah, absolutely stunning display from Dudley.
Yeah. Looks like Ronaldo's been unplayable tonight, despite some of his passing stats and stuff not being up to it. But 4 shots, 4 on target, a key pass, even a tackle. Yeah, absolutely fantastic performance from Ronaldo tonight, and thoroughly deserved 3 points for Dudley Hill.
Yeah, Steve must have been thinking the worst after 23 minutes going a man down. Tony Adams getting a 9 as well, obviously doing a job with the man down, controlling that. Especially when Ayala, his partner, not in the best performance. Wingers have played well. It must have been a bit of a war down those wings. Archer touching the ball 23 times, successful passes out of that. 32 there. David's all over the place. Really, really solid performance. And Quixote's coming on off the bench after his stinker last week and getting a 9. He'll be very, very happy. Well done, lads. Well done. Scott, unlucky.
It looks like Tony Adams gave Dudley Hill a sporting chance though.
Yeah. Big Tony doing the job. I'm sure he'll be on the beer tonight. Where we're off to next, we're not going to Jens just yet. I think we're going to Scotland and to the Haggis Hunters. Let's see how we get on here. Yes, it's the Haggis. Quickly have a quick look at there's something here which I spotted. If you look at Haggis Hunters and you have a quick scroll down here, we've got this interesting physio. We've got this. He can still kick a ball, all right. The old man there, but he's got the job as physio. Got that old manager job release clause
Do
as
you know,
well.
do you know, just go back to that history tab, achievements.
Achievements, I've got to be none, surely.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah. Yep. There we go.
Sir Paul Douglas. Right, let's have a quick look at this lineup. The thing that surprised me when I saw it earlier was Louis Saha at attacking midfield.
Yeah, but do you know what? He can do a job there. I recall, didn't Andreas play there every now and again for Valen? And
I think in a couple of
think
games, yeah.
according to CM Scout, I think his attributes for that role aren't too bad. Again, do you know what? Just like Dudley Hill, this is another team that I really, really like the look of on paper. Obviously, it's the glorious 2-7-1 in an incarnation of sorts. Mendieta in centre mid. Obviously, back the Scottish boys over their judgment on that. I perhaps wouldn't have put him there, but I can see why they have done it based off his stats. Candelar and Zori, excellent wing backs. Vieira and Zanoni, solid pairing in midfield. Hofland and Stam, the Dutch wall. Christ. Canals in Amsterdam ain't breaching that, are they?
Maybe not. You sold Henrik Larsson to the Haggis on the final day. Are you happy with that decision? Are you going to stand by it? Got a 6 last week?
You've got to think, he's 30. I don't know, like I said, I've never had him be super prolific. I've not seen him be super prolific in the Super League either. And I just feel I had better options at AMC and I wanted a lot of pace up top, hence Saviola and Owen, which Larsson didn't really provide. So kind of the trade we had of a tackle machine in Makalele and Saviola for Zanoni and Larsson made sense to me in the way I want to play. And obviously if you look at the way Haggis have lined up, it makes sense to them in the way they want to play as well.
Yeah, completely understand that. Yeah, and I'd be obviously delighted with Salas getting off the mark last week after he'd taken a bit of criticism. Quick look at Northern Burn, who've got a couple of injuries to Crespo and Gerrard, but they've still got a solid lineup there. Maybe the surprise names, maybe Milan Petkov from Athens and Sean Davis of Fulham, both starting at DMC. I really like his wing backs in Zambrotta and Georgiatos of Panathinaikos and Phoenix last season, respectively. Van Bommel, again, is he better at DMC than centre midfield? Will he work with that arrow going forward? Be interested to see. Oliveira, I do like there. A lot of people only like playing him out wide, but I think he can definitely do a job in the middle. Alex as well.
Alex, absolute menace, Alex. Really good player.
Yeah, and then you've got a really solid back line. Samuel and Materazzi, and I think Kesman got off the mark last week. He did, so he's 1 for 1. Interesting to see if we can get that going. And Todo was the keeper for Dudley Hill, and I know Ian did a nice little transfer there. And I do like, someone just mentioned there's fighters yet formation there. Dick and Sanford, how you doing, Dickon? It does look a bit like that, so yes. Predictions in the comments. Predictions, Macca?
I think this has got all the hallmarks of what could be an entertaining game. So whilst I do want to say 2-2 or like 3-3 or something, it will probably end up 1-1 with very little action.
Yes. Tony Brown's our referee. It's wet weather, as it always is up in Scotland. And as we head to Tattyfield, let's see what goes. Swindon is going. Swindon's going 3-0. Vikings 3-1. Steerite 2-2.
I think these teams are evenly matched, and I like the way Ian Edwards has set up Northern Burn here. I think he's kind of looked at what Haggis might do and sort of tried to set them up in an equal way to maybe hit on the counter or something.
We've got an injury to Casillas there. Obviously, I'm just going to assume that's what you're going to do. If you wanted Yap standing net, then speak up quickly, Ian. But I think I'm pretty safe that Canizares is going to come on.
Scott Sadler has just said the Doog rubbing Casillas with the magic sponge. And this, Super League fans, is why we check hard drives. Yeah?
It does look like a lot of haggis, for better or worse. Do like a small amount, but maybe this is too much. Oliveira had a shot there, like the keeper wouldn't get there, but it's 0-0 at half time. It's actually been relatively level on the stats, both relatively similar passes completed. Not really much of a barnstorm of this.
No, that's why I retracted that comment that I made at the start of the show for the mundane prediction just before the game. I think Greavesy and Mr. Palmer are probably going to be right with a 0-0. Like I said, I think you've got two very well set up sides likely to cancel each other out.
Yeah, just looking at the action zones there, does that generally mean that it's been in Haggis's defensive third quite a lot? Am I right?
Yeah, my understanding is the same as yours, Ryan. That the percentage of the thirds of the pitch of where the ball's been would suggest that.
Haggis has had the ball at the back
Yeah,
quite a
Haggis.
lot.
It's been in the Haggis third more than the Burn third.
So apart from Vincent Candela, I don't really want to go too much into this. Not really too much happening for Haggis there. Yeah, good pass completion from a few players. Nothing, not pulling up any trade. It has been a very low-scoring Super League pattern. I completely agree. No doubt it'll burst into life at some point. Northern Burn, a lot more 7s and 6s. Pretty solid across the line. Again, not touched the ball too much. Couple of shots from Oliveira and Kesman. Obviously, we've got none on target, yet. Yeah, it's not been an absolute humdinger of the first half, so I think we should just crack on with the second. Let's have a quick look at how the injury came about. I have no idea. He's picked up the ball. He's gone down after catching the ball, which isn't the best. Right, let's crack on.
Could be a pulled hamstring or something, that perhaps.
Potentially. I saw a bit of Salas early on, a bit of Saha, and another injury, this time to Oliveira. Is Mr. Edwards in the comments? I'm really sorry, I forgot to do half-time subs, so I will allow half-time subs at 53 minutes if anyone wants a half-time sub. So if Mr. Edwards is in the comments, or Ian...
Yeah, it's Lucas Neal for Oliveira. Is that a straight swap, Ian Edwards?
Yeah, I think it has to be with the
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Changes. What do you call it? And any half-time substitution as well, because that's an injury substitution for either manager. I know this is slightly after half-time because I forgot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mr. Edwards is okay with that, and it looks like Ian's probably turned the chat off, as he does sometimes when his game's on. Let me see my stats. Jesus Christ.
He's just, let me see my stats, he's just said.
Be quick, will you? It's 10 o'clock and I want it to be finished by 10. We've still got the Maka versus a Jens game.
Oh, that'll be Jens 2-0. You might as well switch off YouTube. He says back for Saha.
Yeah,
Archie back
for Saha. Straight swap there, attacking midfield. It looks like Haggis happy on top so far. Let's see what happens now. Wow. Looks like goal there from Henrik Larsson. Oh, but Kesman bounced back. This is quite an even game. Looks like it's Northern Burn now who's pushing.
A lot of people did predict draws in the chat. Is there a time for a late winner?
There isn't.
No. Do you know what? Very good game that, I thought. Very even.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the kind of changing fortunes for Northern Burn after that substitution was incredible. I remember not much happened in that first half. Then after the injury, we looked at it and Haggis Hunters were on top. Since then, I don't think Haggis Hunters have had a shot, and it's been all Northern Burn. So Ian must be happy with the performance. Let's have a quick look at how the goals went in. Oliveira just picked up a knock. Back got a loose ball. It's been Larsson. Absolutely fantastic goal from Larsson. Took it on, and then pretty much straight away, Georgiatos puts the ball in from the left, and Kesman takes it down and puts it in the back of the net. It's a good 1-1, I think, for both teams. I think neither of these two teams are going to be slouches come end of the season, so they'll both, I think, not be unhappy with that. Looking at this, and it's 6s for Saha and Salas. Canizares came on and got man of the match, which kind of says how the game went from that moment on. Maybe Back didn't pull up any trees when he came on, as I keep saying, pull up trees now. I won the jack. Yapstam and Hoffland very busy and having a good game. Yeah, that's pretty solid performances. The assist coming from Mendieta in that centre midfield position. Quick look at Northern Burn. Obviously, Kesman got the goal with the assist from Georgiatos. 7s and 8s rather than 6s and 7s. Lucas Neal commanded a good job. Quite accurate passing over there. And it kind of stayed with the action zones being in the defensive third of Haggis, much more than in the defensive third of Northern Burn, which might be a little bit of how Haggis line up with the 4 defensive midfielders and 2 centre-backs, rather than the continuous pressure, although Northern Burn did have a bit of pressure. Well done to both. And Ian suggested that it was the Iker Casillas injury which didn't help the Scots, but I don't know, I think it might have been Lucas Neal coming on and changing the game. Right, let's move swiftly on to Fulchester United versus Hull's Vikings.
Jens, my brother from a Scandi mother, may the best man win. I suspect you 2-0.
I'll have a quick look at what Jens has given us this week, and it's a narrow formation, maybe a little bit more defensive. Big Franco in net. The one thing that really did kind of jump out at me is the Nicky Franco and Van Nistelrooy attacking midfield partnership. I've never really played Rudy Van there, so let's see what happens. It should be an interesting one. Obviously, he fancies Maxim on his own up front. A lot of people do like playing him on his own. They seem to get more goals that way. Beckham, who I know you're a fan of, lots of 20s, really strong right-hand column, really good crossing ability, playing in a narrow formation. Ambrosini, who was at Panathinaikos last year, had a really good season.
Yeah, so was Gerard.
Yeah, it didn't really feature much for you guys.
No, he's a shithouse.
Right. The Barcelona man is a shithouse. And Good Johnson, who maybe a little bit unfancy, but came into the Gazelles, or the Hornets as they were last season, had a really good run of it. So him and NDI, I think it's a solid 11. Maybe an interesting, very narrow formation to see what that provides. Let's have a quick look across the thing. We've got another wet formation and referee Jerry Connolly. What have Fulchester given us this week, Mako?
We, due to, I'll be honest with you, pressure north of the border, I did put out a quote that said the bishop has the ear of the pope. Absolutely spot on. I've been encouraged by the disciples to revert to 2-7-1 that we used at the start of the season, last season. I think this gets all of my attacking players on the pitch in terms of the midfield creativity and quality. So it is the standard 2-7-1 from last year. Rossini up top replacing the kids. Giggs and Okan out-and-out wingers. Rivaldo and Scholes to do some damage. Veron to pull the strings. Yepes and Valgarin didn't do too badly last week, actually. Let's be honest about that. They contained Vieri for most of the game. Bishkan, again, bit of peer pressure there, playing him in the middle. And Makalele, because Nicky Butt is suspended. I have got quite a young team. I don't think I'll do anything this season, to be quite frank. Probably finish in the bottom 3 or 4, realistically. But we'll see how we get on.
You do like talking yourself down. It's noticing Valgarin and Yepes when you've got players like Vrede, Litos. I'm also a fan of Torricelli early on, and you've not really given the opportunity yet.
You know, as I said after dropping Saviola and Owen off at school, I'm still struggling to get all my best players on the pitch, I think. So it'll be a little bit of trial and error for me because I've not done any home save stuff. I've not done any testing or whatever. So I am probably going to take 6 to 7 games to get up and running, really. Whereas last season, I think I just found a bit of a magic formula with the squad I inherited.
So we'll quick look at the predictions. Petes, Mourinho and Mr. Edwards going 2-2. Scott Sadler and Scott Leather going 3-1. Scott Sadler, I want to speak at a normal pace. Fifey going 1-1. Jens going 5-1 Fulchester. I know you went 5-1 to Hull, was it? Dimble going 2-1.
No, I think Hull's 3-1.
Right. Apparently the
stadium... Rivaldo will score for me. So Crumpton Oaks Park is the formal office name of the C-suite. Off we go, boys.
Right, let's do this. A nice blue start. And yeah, Makalele and Giggs on the ball. Rossini's had a few chances. Let's see if you manage to take any this week.
Yes,
Giggs.
Do you know what, though? This is so typical of my teams on this game. We tend to have a lot of possession, play reasonably pretty football, but never really do much with it. Fuck, see what I mean? Oh.
But disallowed goal. Maybe if the C-suite had paid off Jerry Connolly with their ample funds.
Yeah, Jerry was our former head of HR, and you know what? That's why I wanted Beckham.
Yeah, it's that is a sickener. David Beckham getting the equaliser just before half time. The one shot on target as well. That
For
must be
fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? This happens to me all the time, though, mate. I complete more passes, I have more shots, I spend more time up the pitch, and I just never seem to convert.
Yeah, maybe the aerial thing becoming an issue there. Seems to be he's winning a few more headers. He's had a lot more free kicks. So you guys being quite dirty. Let's have a quick look at the pools.
It's artists versus artisans, Ryan.
It doesn't look like they've had too much of the ball, but being quite effective with it. Obviously, 6 and 7s. Big Sol's having a nice game at the back. It's not been too bad, but obviously not fantastic. And then David Beckham, can see there's no assists there. Let's have a quick look at how the goals went in. It's a free kick from Beckham by the sounds of it, so what can you do in that situation? Okan came forward, put a cross into Giggs, who'd obviously found his way into the area, so it looks like those two on the wings are working out alright for you, Mac. Could you talk us through your first half?
Well, Rivaldo, Scholes and Rossini haven't been up to much, have they? Rest of the team haven't done too bad. Varane and Giggs, probably the key men there. Okan, surprisingly, with a 9. I think a lot of people said he was garbage, but I've got a tune out of him before. Again, he's one of my home save favourites. I think looking at that, I probably need to work on how the ball is getting to Rivaldo, Scholes and Rossini, I would think, because they're not even taking too many shots collectively. I mean, they've had 6 shots between 3 players in a half. That's not good enough, really. We should be doing more with it. Not too bad, to be honest. I would probably take a point to get going. But we'll see how we go.
His only shot on goal. That's not what you want from your keeper, is it?
No, but I mean, really, who was I going to trade Buffon for? You kind of get dealt that star keeper, and I think he did pretty well last season at BTEC, I believe. So,
yeah,
it's just one of them. It's a Beckham free kick. What can you do about that? How many great keepers, over time have conceded Beckham free kicks?
No worries. Any subs at half time, Maka?
No. Do you know what? I'm happy to keep it that way.
No problem at all. Right, let's press on. And
does Jens not want to make a sub?
Actually, he's already told me in the chat that I'm on it, back. I'm on it. Don't you worry about that. Looks like it's following a similar vein. A lot of pressure from the blue side, but not as many goals as you'd like. Rossini looks like he's touched the ball a few times, but not.
Do you know what? I think it's probably my tactics. About what I'm asking Rivaldo and Scholes to do. And yes, Giggs, fucking hell, 1-man team tonight. Again, I would still take a point at this point in time.
You would not take a point at this point in time. But it does look like they're coming back into it. Or does it? Oh, Chizalco at the end there. Oh. Looks like you've held out.
We're off and running. Look, see, this is what I mean. If I can work out how to get the best out of Rivaldo, Scholes and one of the forwards, I might do some damage. But I just worry that I'm going to have too many cagey games like this. I mean, pretty reliant on Giggs tonight, but Okan's done brilliantly. Fair play to him.
Yeah, he's come in and got 2 assists there. I think that's a really solid performance if you want to talk us through it.
No, to be honest, really, really pleased with it. Varane's done well pulling the strings. Like I said, I think the conundrum I need to go and work out is, even though Rossini's had an 8 and he's had 8 shots and 6 on target, what's the conversion rate there? And the conundrum of Rivaldo and Scholes, what do I do there? I think a few of the guys on Twitter have suggested that where I've got Varane at CM and those 2 lads at AM, swap them. So I have Rivaldo and Scholes at midfield and Varane in the hole, maybe. I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, other than that, happy with that. Decent performance. Buffon's pulled his socks up. Valgaeren and Yepes look like they could be okay, but not watertight. Reasonably pleased. I do feel bad on Jens, but
yeah, Jens is after giving Cizalco free rein up top, he's only been rewarded with a 5. Ambrosini getting a 5. It looks like there's some solid defensive displays from Campbell, NDI and Costanzo. at the back have kind of kept him in it a little bit, where he hasn't really offered too much up front. Quick look at the shots. Yeah, there's not too much going on. A couple from Giselle, but he's only won 1 of his 5 headers. Whereas Van Nistelrooy, who maybe no natural centre forward, winning 7 out of his 8, but not really getting any shots because he's playing at attacking midfield. So maybe something for Jens to think about there. A lot of the pressure, a lot of the ball was in your area. I'd say that. I mean, I could kind of echo what Joe Palmer there in the chat saying it's a dominant win. Yeah, it's been a good night for the. It's been a good night in the Super League. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. Anything
right.
again?
Have I finally brought the commentator's curse here? Did we not have a run of whoever spoke their team lost last season, or did that get ended by someone? Just out of curiosity.
I think that. I've won a couple of times on comms. I was on comms when I beat you in the final, obviously, Mac. I don't want to.
Oh, of course, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. We favorite squad.
So a quick run through. Bostock away win at Dragons, pretty dominant in that. Fulchester beating Hools. Gazelles absolutely led us to the cleaners. Haggis and Northern, quite a tight affair. Locomotive Boston came from 2-1 down to beat Churchtown. Spartak, relatively, I won't say maybe not dominant, but relatively comfortable at home to Astor. And Dudley Hill, after losing a man early on, came from 1-0 down to win 3-1. Quick look at the table. Bostock setting the pace early on, 2 wins out of 2, only scoring the 2 goals, but absolutely solid at the back. Hools are the only team to have lost both games. Quite a tight affair both weeks, really. Only lost by losing by 1 goal each game. You're in the middle of the pack, Macca. Gazelles pretty solid there. Obviously, teams like Gladysford, Astor and Dragons look them experienced managers there. You'd expect them to get going at some point. Northern Burn will probably be kind of rolling their eyes at 2 games which they could have won, but they've only come away with a point. But quick look at some player stats. Obviously, it doesn't mean too much so far. Goals, Madeira's top of the pile with 3. Interesting that because I'm on Hodgie, he's still called Madeira, but if I go into Kieran's profile, then it'll be that Antonio Lopez. That's interesting how that works. A couple of goals from Ronaldo tonight.
Joe Palmer, the absolute spicy curmudgeon, saying, "Well done, lads. Only 15 minutes over."
Yeah, it's different from 2 hours though, doesn't it? I did my best.
Fucking hell, Joe. Give us some praise, mate. We're trying.
Ockham, 2 assists, getting top of the pile.
Elite, mate. Elite. He's got to go and run a kebab shop now, but he's fucking elite. Everyone's slagged him off, but he is decent.
Yep. A couple of things to shout out. Obviously, tonight may have just started by now, but once first team football's on with Chris Gritsky and Boise on Twitch. And tomorrow night, I hope everyone has a good chance to tune into The Game Is Gone, which is the new stream by Duggan, Jamie, and Wooder, which I'm sure is going to be absolutely epic. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for that, but it looks like it's going to be an absolute barnstormer. Right, I shall. What do you call it? I'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Macca. Thank you very much everyone to tune in on the chat, and I shall. What do you call it? I shall progress the next day, and we'll have another game on Sunday. Cheers, lads. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Cheers. Bye.